Welcome to the Underground.
Turn me up, bitch!
My Little Underground with Peter A.
It's My Little Underground. I'm Peter A. Make sure you're listening anywhere you get podcasts, and you can follow me on socials at MLUpod. You can check out my website as well, peteraradio.com, from My Little Underground archives, as well as my brand new Mixcloud show, Peter A Radio. It's a monthly mix of artists that I think you should care about, listen to, enjoy, buy their records, go see them live, whatever. And that's all on peteraradio.com, so go check that out. The first episode is up there. Enjoy it. I put a lot of work into it, and I have a lot of fun doing it as well. And I'm a big fan of reprises in songs. And today we have, returning to the show, friend of the show, and a friend of mine, we got Miranda Elliot. Old Man of the Woods is back with her new album, Votives, on the great Totally Real Records. I talked to Miranda about her move to Seattle, song selection for the album, what her live set may look like, and so much more with my fungus friend, Miranda Elliot, Old Man of the Woods, returning to My Little Underground. Oh my God, how the hell are you? You know,
A lot has been happening. I'm good. Yeah, I'm great.
Now you're a Seattle
great.
resident.
Yeah, I am.
There you go.
I know. A local now.
Yeah.
It's been a month.
I want to visit Seattle, one of these days. I've always wanted for years and years. So I want to get your general thoughts on the city so far. I want to start with the people. Like, what have you noticed about Seattle residents since living there?
They're really friendly. I feel like they're definitely described as not being so. I was warned a lot of times before moving here of the Seattle freeze. And everyone's been so shockingly nice. Like, I feel like because I came into it being like, no one's gonna like me, and like I'm gonna, have to like try very hard. Everyone's been great, and like it's pretty easy to make friends. And I don't know, it's an interesting vibe of the city because it's sort of neighborhood based almost. So it like feels like small cities within a bigger city or something. Like it doesn't really feel like a big city in the way that I expected it to. Not
so
that I know.
Do you live in
means.
You live in the actual city of Seattle, or like one of the outskirts, the other neighborhoods you're talking about?
I live in Capitol Hill, so it's like
Okay.
kind of the center of Seattle. Yeah, it's really great. Everyone that I've met lives like a 10-minute walk from me. It's kind of like weird to live this close to everyone. Like it's my ideal, but I'm like, how do you all live right here? It's so nice. We can just walk to each other's houses all the time.
It's beautiful. It's kind of like New York. That's how New York is.
I know. Yeah, right. It feels like that, except for like on a more like micro scale or something, because New York is just, enormous.
Right.
But yeah, it's great. It's beautiful here, other than the rain, and it's pretty cold, but like the environment is beautiful.
Yeah, tell me about like your thoughts on the stereotypical Seattle weather, wet, rainy, and chilly. Like how do you fit into that? Or it's just like, I was expecting that.
I mean, I was told to expect it, so I can't say that I'm surprised. I feel like everyone did say that it wasn't actually cold. Like, I don't know. I feel like it was described as being rainy but temperate, and it's been like legitimately very cold since I got here. Like, I did not realize it was so warm in Virginia until moving to Seattle.
Right.
And it's like 50 degrees and has been for weeks now,
Yeah.
But yeah, today was 65, so a hot one.
So, like you being artistically, nature and outside, have you grown into like the comfort? Okay, it's gonna be cold, wet, and rainy. Maybe I won't go outside as much. Maybe I'll, be inside. Is that what you're thinking? Or it's like, okay, I knew what to expect from Seattle coming in, and this is my bed, and I had to sleep in it.
Yeah, I feel more of the second one. I mean, okay. I think that like the cool part about it being so gross all the time here, and it really isn't, is the thing. Like it is rainy and it's cold, but it's the kind of rain where like most of the time it's a drizzle, and like it also only rains for like 30 minutes and then it stops,
Yeah.
So you can just like wear a hat and you're fine, and just get through the day. But the part that I like so much about it being a little constant is that no one is deterred by it. Like I think that in Richmond, at least when it's a gross day, like, you don't really do anything. Like you just stay inside and catch up on work or whatever. I don't know. There's not like any, I guess, incentive to go outside because that tomorrow probably will be nicer. Here, people just keep doing their thing, They're like, we're not waiting for anything. Like we just have to keep doing everything because it's not going to get better necessarily.
That's kind of my
I
attitude.
love that. Yeah.
That's my attitude, because when it rains in New York, you see on Twitter and everyone you meet, like, oh, damn, this fucking rain. I'm like, this is cool. In California, they had a drought. You know what I mean? Like, I'm cool when it comes to rain. As long as I don't have to drive in it, I'm cool.
Right.
I don't care, to be honest.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love not driving. I don't have a car here. It's so nice. I haven't not had to have a car in ever. I've always had a car. It's been great.
Wow, you're really selling Seattle to me, because I like the idea of not having a car. I love it. It's perfect.
I mean, I think that you could do that in New York too, though, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
What I
mean?
Yeah, right. That's what I assume. I would never have one in New York.
No.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people do have them here, and it's easier to hike and stuff. But I think that the key is just to find someone that has a car and befriend them for leaving the city.
And you could probably tell me. You could probably tell me this. Maybe if I'm wrong, but like, Seattle is more closer to nature than like New York City is. Even though New York has its spots, that's probably one of the reasons, outside of grad school, why you wanted to go to Seattle, right?
Totally. Yeah.
Okay.
There's so many beautiful things pretty close. Like when my parents moved me out here together, I don't know, we flew out here, so it's not like we drove a van full of stuff, but we did like a whole little trip out here. And went around to a lot of the big national parks, and maybe they're state parks. I don't know what they are, but like Mount Rainier and the Cascades, and there's like La Push and rainforest stuff. And I don't know, there's so much stuff that's within like 3 hours of Seattle.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. It sort of reminds me of how New Zealand is like a million kind of different ecosystems, biospheres, I don't know the right word, but like it's a lot of different kinds of environments all smashed up into a small space. And that kind of feels similar to Washington State. Like you could drive like 2 hours and get somewhere that looks totally different, which feels crazy to me,
And I'm a huge fan of Frasier, right? And that's based in Seattle.
Yeah.
And Niles and Frasier always frequent a cafe. So tell me about, I'm a big cafe person. I'm not a drinker. So, when you came to New York and we hung out, we went to a cafe. That's how I roll. So tell me about the cafe scene in Seattle. Please.
Love it. Yeah.
And give me some recommendations.
Yes, of course. I just came from one. One of my favorite spots that I just found like a week ago is called Good Weather Bicycle and Cafe, maybe. It's like a bike shop. So they fix bikes and they're all so friendly.
Excellent.
And they make like really good sandwiches, and they have all these outdoor tables that you can sit at and Wi-Fi. And I feel like it's very like big communal tables that a lot of people are working at, and it's covered. So if it's raining, it doesn't matter. And they have heat lamps. So you can stay out there even when it's cold. They've got it all figured out.
Fucking wonderful.
Yeah, I know, that place is a dream. So I was just there today working. There's a really cute place by me that's called Ada's, and that it's named after Ada Lovelace, who's like one of the first women computer scientists, which I love. It's like a very nerdy little cafe. It's like half bookstore, half cafe, and they also have a lot of outdoor things that are nice. And
you're in the home of Microsoft, so that kind of makes sense.
Oh my God, so much tech here.
Yeah.
I know that I work as a tech person, but it's still like, oof, man, there's a lot going on here.
Yeah. Two more things on Seattle, then we'll dive into your artistry.
Yes, right.
And it's very, trust me, where you are is very relevant to your artistry, because Seattle has a lot of great artists. There's hardly art out there. I'm a huge fan of La Luz and Taco Cat, and Sub Pop as well. So have you interacted with any artists, musicians in Seattle?
I have, yeah.
Cool.
There's this venue near me called Cafe Racer that just opened up like pretty much the weekend that I got here. Sorry, I I've been so croaky today. Um, yeah, so Cafe Racer just opened up like a month ago, I guess. And I've seen a lot of local bands there because it's sort of like like they have like a show every night of a lot of different people. And um, someone that I feel like I became Instagram friends with before moving here, and neither of us remember how, is named Mount Fog. That's her band name. She's also like a solo artist that does kind of ambient-y, like ethereal vocal stuff. I feel like she's more on the like Kate Bush end of vocals than I am. Like our music doesn't sound similar, but I think we have similar mindsets or something. So I've seen her play. She's great, so good. She played with a band called Catch Rabbit, and they were great. And I feel like eventually, hopefully, I'll play shows with both of them because we've been talking about it a little bit. They were really fun. They're like the kind of band that I feel like you watch them play and you're like, I want to be friends with all of you now. Like they're just very energetic and like themselves, you know. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen a lot of Wolf shows here, and I've been amazed at kind of how different each one is, and also how much more music sounds more like the vibe that I'm going for than kind of what was happening in Richmond, where I feel like it's more like indie pop and rock. I don't know. It feels like there's more bands there, and there's more like projects here of people, sort of, you know.
Interesting.
Yeah. There's also a lot of bands here. There's just, it's a bigger city.
Right.
Yeah.
And any of the bands that you say a lot of bands that you've interacted with have like this kind of like ethereal, spooky, out in the woods kind of thing like yourselves. Well, what's interesting, and there's, you know, do you think some of these artists that you've interacted with have like the stereotypical what you would describe Seattle would be like? Because you know, traditionally, like last 20, 30 years, like Alice in Chains, you know, you listen to Dirt and it's like, that sounds rainy and sad and gross. Like now, you know, I've been listening to a lot of Taco Cat, right? And they sound like Laguna Beach, California, not Seattle. So, cool. You know, like I think when you walked in and saw these bands, did you think this band is not what I thought Seattle would sound like, right?
Some of them, yeah. I do feel like, yeah, there's a lot more energy, I think, than something that would sound rainy and sad. But there is a certain like mossiness. I don't know. I think especially with Mount Fog, like I can absolutely hear like that she has spent a lot of time outside in like rainy, green, mossy areas, you know, like that just.
Isn't that
like,
what I said about you when we first talked?
Yeah, which is funny because I mean, yeah, I guess I've been doing the same thing, just in a different environment. But yeah, I can hear it in some of the music here, but it's definitely not all of it. And there are a lot of different vibes going on, you know.
Okay.
It's not all sad rain music.
Yeah. So last thing on Seattle, do you have New City blues? Because when I moved from Long Island into Queens, I had this kind of period where I was like, you know, I kind of felt like, oh my God, this is like sort of kind of lonely, you know what I mean? Even though if I have roommates, but still like you know, I'm in my own space all the time and I'm not really used to that. You know what I mean? Even though I'm very introverted. Did you ever feel that way?
I think that the first day that my parents flew back to Richmond, I was like, what have I done? This was insane. I just moved across the country by myself, which is admittedly like, it is a little crazy, but it's also, people do it all the time. But yeah, I think that like for one day I was very New City blues. And then that night I hung out with one of my now friends and like then like an acquaintance that had moved here from Richmond. And she was great and all of her friends were really nice. And I was like, okay, I think I'll probably be fine, you know, like it was scary for like a 12-hour period and like there are gonna be periods of it being like that again. But no, I think I've been really lucky to have kind of met people who were nice and open and not felt like there's no one that I could ask someone to like do something with, you know. Yeah, I don't know. I've like tried doing the thing where you like go to a show alone, and I feel like I've tried doing the things that you do when you move to a city alone. I don't know how I feel about all that. But yeah, I think that I've experienced the New City blues, but I've been pretty lucky so far. So getting out of it easy.
Yeah, I'm so happy that you've you have comfort moving so far away into a new city, a cool new city. But yeah, so when it comes to like remixes, right? You put out the Dissolve remix EP, and you remixed No from Sock Jock. So
Yeah.
all of this, the remix stuff, it's like, did like Taylor come to you and say, hey, remix a Sock Jock song for me? Or did you say, Taylor, I want to remix one of your songs? Like, what happened there?
I think the Taylor came to me. Well, I know that Taylor came to me. Either Taylor or Brian came to me and were like, we want 2 minutes of something at the end of this tape. And I was like, ooh, that's a lot of creative freedom. Okay. And yeah, I guess that I listened to some of her songs, was trying to think of kind of what to do to, I like those boundaries. Like, I think that it's sort of fun to be given something that's like, it needs to be relevant and it needs to be short and, needs to be an outro basically, yeah. And that just ended up being what made sense. I think that I talked to Taylor some about her, I don't know, like what her favorite song was on there, or like what she would be interested in hearing a remix of. And yeah, it all just kind of came together. I feel like it was a pretty quick process. It was really fun to just chop up the song and sort of see what happened. Remixing is fun because you just get to like decontextualize everything and like throw it around,
I have a feeling that sooner or later, Old Man of the Woods stems are going to be a big thing within producers and remixers. You know what I mean? Like with Brian Eno and David Byrne did with My Life in the Bush of Ghosts, they gave out the stems to the songs. So yeah.
Yeah, that would be super fun. I would love.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Just wait and see. It's coming. So when it comes to the Dissolve EP, like what happened there? Like, was it similar process? Did people come to you, or you were like, I want you to remix this, I want you to remix that, and so on and so forth?
Yeah. How did that start? I think one of my friends from college, actually someone that I hadn't talked to for a while, actually, when we had our other interview, remember how I said that like someone had hit me up being like,
Yep.
I want to make a remix, and I thought that it was pretty cool. That's how that EP started, was because he did that, and I was like, that's cool. And then I showed it to Brian, and Brian was like, we could remix all of Dissolve or something. I was like, this feels like a lot. So I feel like that was a very cool idea, but things happen. There was a lot going on. I was also like trying to write the new album at the time, so I wasn't really like, it felt like a lot to like email people and be like, please remix all these songs. But I guess that simultaneously, those videographers from Vancouver were working on the Dissolve music video, because we started working together maybe in December or November or something, because they just hit me up from Bandcamp, which was awesome. And that's just like still something that I can't believe happened. But I guess like this remix got made. I thought it was cool. I didn't know what to do with it. This video was being made and I thought it was really cool. And like eventually I would want it to be out in the world. And then it made sense to kind of just make a bunch of Dissolve remixes and put them out with the video, since it had been a while since Dissolve had been released. We were like, let's freshen it up. Let's just throw a few weird remixes in there and call it a day. Yeah, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. It was really fun to hear what other people did with that song. Yeah.
Reworks are always cool. Well, not always, but a good amount of time they're really, really good. One of my favorite reworks recently has been Gum. And Gum is a project of Jay Watson, and Jay Watson does synth for Tame Impala. And Tame Impala did a little like B-sides EP for Currents a few years back. And man, Gum did a rework of what was it, Reality in Motion. It's just goddamn brought new life to the song. I'm obsessed with it till this day. So,
that's so cool.
Your first album, your debut album, Votives, is out right now, and
Woo.
I know I was excited about it. I know you were too, because you had all this stuff internally, like, oh, what can I say? Oh, I want to talk about what I can't say anything. So I have to say, so when I was recording the first episode of Peter A Radio, and when I was doing my WFMU show, I called it Votives.
Oh,
I'm crazy.
Peter.
I'm like, oh my fucking God. The song, you say it in the song.
Like a lot of times, you know.
Fucking Christ. It's like, how can I fuck that up? But nonetheless,
I'm scared I'm gonna say that now.
Yeah, watch. when you play your first live show, you'd be like, yeah, my new album. Fuck, Peter, god damn it. And I'll be right there in the crowd.
No.
Yeah. So did you arrange this album completely by yourself or no?
Yeah. I think that I went pretty crazy this spring. Like I guess maybe it was like February or March, so late winter. I feel like I hit a point where I just had so many songs. Like this is a real pared down version of the amount of songs that I was trying to shape into albums. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I have like 10 different playlists on my computer of like different albums basically. And then I wrote Votives. And then I had this like crazy, like I really did have this very weird dream about all these candles, which I guess if you read anything about it, then you know, but I just like had this really bizarre, like kind of surreal dream about people's minds being these little churches filled with candles that were like burning for everyone that they loved. Been watching a lot of Vampire Diaries at the time. I feel like I was just watching a lot of things that had a lot of like weird candle shit going on. You know, full disclosure. But and I guess that day, yeah, I don't know. I think that it was in the era of like a lot of Zoom calls. Like I was just recounting a lot of things with a lot of people, and I had just had like a Zoom call with all these friends from college, and they were talking about buying candles from this witchy place that were about like attracting love and stuff. I don't know. There were a lot of things going on. Either way, I wrote that song. I had that dream. I was just thinking about like flickering candles and sort of like, I don't know, like things, you don't know how to put it into words, but essentially for whatever reason, after that song came out, I think that I like started rearranging things more and somehow found a group of them that worked better together. I think that I wrote Shark soon after that too. But most of them were from like the past few months before then or years. And then somehow like that and a couple other newer ones fit in there, and like I was able to create a thing that worked. And then I sent that to Brian because I was like, does this work? I've tried so many different things and like, I think it works, but also maybe it doesn't work. I don't know. Can you tell me if it works? He was like, oh my God, chill out. But yeah, he liked it. I don't know. I think that it just started rolling after that. It took a really long time to arrange it because I was working with so much material, but
and it's
still
just
a really
you.
long album. Yeah, and it's just me. It's hard to make that kind of decision by yourself too, because it's, I don't know. I mean, you can't really make anyone else make it for you, but it's a lot to decide. Especially debut albums have like a weird, I feel like it's a lot of pressure to be like, here's everything that I think is worth being on an album together. But yeah, I'm happy with how it all turned out. I think it's like an interesting mixture of different sounds that I was worried wouldn't work together, but I think that they ended up doing it.
How many songs did you make during the sessions of Votives?
You mean like how many was I choosing between for the album?
No, like when you were like in album mode, like, okay, I'm gonna make an album. How many songs did you make in total? And before the process of like trimming down what's going to be on the album. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that I don't think I really create music like intending it to be in a specific group of songs, if that makes sense. So I was sort of choosing between like everything that I had made for the past like 2 or 3 years. And some of them I did need to like re-record if I was going to put them on an album, because some of it was from before I knew what I was doing at all. So it was more just like playing a piano and doing a thing. But there were probably like what, 40-ish, 50 songs or something.
Wow.
It was a lot of them. There were a lot of songs I was choosing between. But a lot of them were also, you know, more like sketches. Some stuff was stuff that I like needed to like kind of take further to make it into something that I really wanted to put on an album. But yeah, I would say that it was a pretty big crew of songs, because I've been writing music for so long and not putting it out, you know?
Yeah. So it's almost like, you know, you're a farmer and you've made all these crops, but there's only a few you're going to actually send to market, and some you keep for yourself in your secret garden. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I have a rich secret garden of songs.
So tell me about the actual song selection. When you're making all these songs, you're like, okay, these are the songs that are gonna make the album, and the other whatever. Like what made you pick the songs that you picked? The 14 songs?
I think that for the most part, any song that was older than a few months old, it was songs that I've like gone back and listened to enough times, if that makes sense. Like I think that whenever you write a song, or whenever I write a song, I usually like them a lot, or like I wouldn't have written them. But I think that like if a song remains interesting to me like 2 years later and I still like find myself thinking about it sometimes, that's the kind of song that ended up on this album. Like I feel like I wrote Let Me Miss You maybe at the very beginning of 2020, I think in like January of 2020. And I like still every now and then got that song stuck in my head, and I was like, okay, well that's gonna be on there. And then yeah, I think like some of them I would have lyrics that would get stuck in my head or like cross my mind sometimes, but they were from like 2018. And I think every song that ended up on this album either was recent and I was excited about it, or was older and like was still in my like top hits in my brain, you know? So that's sort of how they all made the cut.
Interesting. So whatever is top of mind, mostly that's what you're going to put. And think about it from like a listener perspective. The songs that you want, a lot of these songs to really remain in your mind and flow very well, you know. And I love how the album starts with Garden. I think that we're talking about gardens, and look at that.
Yeah,
track
true.
one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So, you know, when it comes to recording this year album, and we all know that you don't record conventionally. Now, how much of this album was recorded outside? I know you did. I know you recorded outside. You can't tell me you did.
I feel like I've recorded a lot of sound samples outside. I don't know that I've recorded that much like vocal outside though, really, you know. See, okay. But I do a lot of layering in this album. Like, yeah, I feel like most of the vocals actually probably were in my apartment. All of them probably were, 'cause it's just so loud outside and I have a pretty quiet voice, you know. So I feel like there's a lot to try to get out of there if I do things outside. But I take like a lot of water sound samples, and like feel like I've just been taking like voice memos of rain for a year now in different places, which I need to start doing it here. Got a lot to work with. Yeah, I did a lot of walking around at my dad's cabin last year and like kind of recording like bugs and rain and all these things, and I feel like they're all, and like birds and in our yard, and there's a lot of that that's layered into everything, which is probably why it sounds very outdoors, but none of the actual music playing is outdoors, so tricky. But
yeah, because when you're listening to this album, you're hearing, and especially Dissolve 2, you're hearing outside, you're hearing nature, literally. And it's wonderful, and it's a different way to incorporate samples that you don't have to go through any kind of sample clearing like a hip-hop producer would, you know, or anybody else. Yeah, that's cool.
No, I guess that I'm using the word sample maybe not in the right way, but it's more like, you know, like samples that I'm taking of the outdoors.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
and so
and
when
like
it comes
going the
to
beach.
yeah, that's what I did when I was on the beach. I showed you some of the things that I've
Yeah,
recorded just
right.
because, yeah. When it comes to like physical music for Votives and Old Man of the Woods in general, the Dissolve EP was very successful, you know, in cassette form. Was that the same situation for Votives so far? I know the album is only like 2 weeks old at this point, so you can't. I
Yeah.
don't know if you can really give me a concrete
Uh,
answer on that.
I don't know. I mean, I think that the Dissolve tapes sold out in like a day or something. So
Yeah.
that has not happened with Votives. I think that they're maybe half sold out. I don't know how many vinyl have sold. I think that it's been like successful to a degree, but it has only been like a week. I've been happy that anyone seems excited about it and is getting them. And I think that they're gonna all sell eventually. But yeah, I've been a little bit like disconnected. I don't know. I feel like I've been very focused on just being like, listen to my album.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's been successful. I've been happy with the response, even if it's not like selling out tapes in a day. Feel like we diversified more in what was available. So like, maybe if it had just been tapes, we wouldn't have any left. But I really enjoyed designing vinyl, and I'm really excited to like have it on vinyl. I think that'll be awesome.
Yeah, you've had
So
write up after write up, you know, stereo gum and etc.
yeah,
So I think that is a success. And number one, you're happy with the product, right?
I am.
That's all
Yeah.
that
And my
matters.
friends, I don't know. I just feel like I've been getting messages from people that I haven't talked to for like years, being like, I listened and it's awesome. And I don't know. It's been so sweet. I feel very lucky to, I don't know, have made something that people care about. And it's been fun moving somewhere also and having that to talk about. Also kind of funny though. I feel like I realized the other day that like a lot of people have just met me and I'm like, no, here's a thing that I do. And now I'm imagining like they do not know me at all. And this is like their first impression of me. And everyone probably thinks I'm just some like emo kid. You would never know that I write such sad songs hanging out with me. But no, it's been great. I've been really happy with the response to it. And I'm
Yeah.
excited about all the physical things.
So you know what's interesting? Like you're moving and you just have stuff, and then when you move, when you're all settled in, you're like, I have too much stuff. And the last time we talked, you know, I asked you about like physical media, like, are you a collector yourself? So now with, you know, Old Man of the Woods really kicking into gear, and you have a lot of different physical media out. You as a fan of music, when you go into shows, are you buying that vinyl of Big Thief? Are you buying that cassette? Are you getting that CD? Are you more or less or just the same as far as building your own physical music collection?
Such a good question. I feel like I got more into cassettes over the past year after making one. Like it definitely made me pay more attention to them and buy more of them, having designed one, because then I felt connected to all of them. I will say that I moved here on a plane. So as far as like things that I brought with me, nothing. So I'm sort of starting from scratch. So I have a great opportunity to really build a collection from the ground up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't, have I bought anything going to shows yet? Maybe not. I'll start now though. Yeah. I think that I'm also kind of into the idea of buying more like apparel and stuff from bands because I don't have any clothes here. But I think that I designed like a tote bag with my friend Valerie, who's like a really talented illustrator and designer. And I'm really excited about that. And I don't know, I think that I've been just trying to think of like more ways to kind of physicalize Old Man of the Woods and put it onto things that aren't so digital. And I've definitely been paying a lot more attention to what other people do in that space and totally want to have more vinyl and stuff. I don't have a record player here though. I don't have anything.
That's I guess that's your answer. So how do you listen to music mostly? That's really what it's about. Like what do you feel more, how do you feel comfortable listening to music? What is aside from cassettes?
Right. I mean, I listen on like I guess I buy things on Bandcamp, like digitally, and listen on Spotify.
Yep. There you go.
Big streamer. Yeah. But now
I'm a
I know from being an artist that I
Yeah.
like, if I really like someone, I buy it and then I also stream it. You do the two for two.
or you do the 2001 thing. You actually download a file and you put that on a device and listen to it. Take that with you.
I guess I could. I love that I feel like I still use Spotify no matter if I bought someone's stuff or not, but I'll like buy it on Bandcamp so that I'm like actually supporting them, and then I'll stream it so that they get numbers.
Of course. Speaking of cassettes, like, so what was the last cassette you purchased, or the last thing you popped in your R2D2 tape deck?
Oh my God, I know. I'm so mad that I didn't put that on the suitcase and bring it here. It's so cute, but it's so big. It would have taken up so much room.
Dude, my cassette player is like it's one of those big boom boxes. Like, so as a CD and as a cassette player, it's a behemoth.
Yeah. What was the last thing I listened to? Probably Sock Jock, actually.
Same. I was listening to her recently too.
Yeah. I feel like that was one of the last ones that I played before I moved. So good.
Yeah. But cassettes are kind of pissing me off recently because maybe it's my player. It's probably my player. Every time I put it in, it just like stops. I think it's picking up so much friction. I gotta get a new tape player, but like I love cassettes too. I have Czarface right here, and I have
nice.
What else? Sock Jock, You, Small Data, Bad Brains, Nirvana, and Ty Segall, all that shit.
I think they're so cute too. I honestly just love them from like an aesthetic standpoint, probably more than like a Sonic one, which is, I don't know, whatever. But I feel like sonically, I also had the same thing with that R2D2 thing, where like I feel like it even like tried to pull out some of the tape, and I was like, wow, these things are fragile, like it's crazy. It's all just on a bunch of tape in a thing.
Yeah, it's a bunch of
How does that even
parts.
work?
Yeah. When it comes to shows, right? Are you thinking about, okay, let's get a mini Old Man of the Woods tour going, or just a show wherever in Seattle, etc.?
I really want to start playing shows. I need to figure out my live set, which is the thing that is holding me back right now. Actually, that band Catch Rabbit that I was talking about being good just messaged me the other day, and they were like, want to play a show like on November 14th? And I was like, oh, that's so fun, but like I just don't have anything ready. Like, I don't know.
You have an album, but I know.
No, but like I feel like it's a whole different thing though, being able to perform it live. So I bought something that's around here. I bought like an MPC one back in the summer because I was gonna learn. I like want to do it without a laptop, I think, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out like how to perform in a way that I like get to pay attention to the crowd and like singing and having fun more. And I think like the way I was doing it before was too manual almost, where I was like needing to kick everything off and like have it all in sync. And I don't know, I just want to experiment more with like how to make things that I'm like still playing it live, but maybe like doesn't take so much kind of brain power to do it, so that I can be more of a performer than like just executing things in a row. So I don't know, but I like definitely want to start playing live soon. That's for sure a big thing that I'm excited about.
Are you considering a band? Are you going in that route, or are you just trying to figure out how to just do whatever Old Man of the Woods performance will look like outside of the live stream that you did?
Yeah.
What are your plans, or what are you thinking of in regards to that?
I don't see a band in the near future. I mean, maybe eventually, but also probably not, because I don't know. I think that all of my songs are I don't have like a super, super consistent sound of like what instruments are even in each song, if that makes sense, so I don't really know that like, yeah, right. So I feel like it's all just like I'm throwing things together on a laptop. So it's gonna be solo. Yeah, it's more just I don't have the keyboard that I did all the live streams with here because it was too big to bring. So I'm like trying to figure out a different setup that's like more portable, and I don't know. So it's just gonna be me. I just haven't put together anything yet to actually perform. And I want
Cool.
to be able to do more harmonies on top of each other. I don't know. I feel like it's all just like gear stuff that I don't really know that much about. So I haven't had time to figure it out yet since I'm doing grad school and working. So we'll see when that all fits in. But I definitely want to.
Yeah, no pressure. You know, I know you got a lot going on.
No, but it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, fortunately and unfortunately, it's like kind of the thing that I'm the most excited about, you know? So I'm definitely want to do it and want to find time for it. But school's a lot, you know? Who knew that it was so much work? I'd forgotten. It's been a while.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you moved across the
yeah.
country to a new
Yeah.
city. You have a job, and then you have grad school. So it's like, and an album. What? You know, it's
I know.
just so much happening. Which is
I really did not take it like slow on any of those things. I feel like I was like, cool, October, we're doing it all. But
fourth quarter,
great.
we got to get it all out, you know.
Yeah.
Hit those numbers, you know.
Yeah.
Well, Miranda, old man, fungus, thank you so much for coming on My Little Underground once again. You know, you are welcome anytime. The door is open. You know, you want to talk about Seattle more, you ping me and we'll do it. I don't care.
Spots.
Please.
Yeah, whenever
please.
I'll let you know when I play a show here and you're gonna have to come visit, you know.
Sure. Damn right. I need an excuse to get out there, you know. I gotta poke some people in Seattle, like, yo, you know, and bother some people over there. But, the airport, the Seattle airport has a Sub Pop record store. So,
really? Oh, that's so cute.
I don't know if it's still there, but I was watching the Seattle episode of Dave Grohl's Sonic Highways, and they pointed out it's brilliant.
I'll have to do that.
Fantastic.
Cool.
Yeah. So plug the album and your socials and what have you, website.
Yeah. Votives is out, came out a week ago. My Instagram's Old Man of the Woods, so periods between each word, and my Twitter's OMW with underscores. Not easy to say. Should have thought about that first.
I'm gonna link your Bandcamp link in the description anyway.
Yeah, right. Just put everything in there. Oldmanofthewoods.rocks is my website. And that has all the links on it too. Vinyl, totes, cassettes, everything's on Bandcamp. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. Listen, please.
Yeah. You're the best, Miranda. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been super fun.